Am I an idiot for wanting to bring the partner of my brother to his funeral? A little over a month ago, my little brother who was 26 passed away in a motorcycle accident. His death was so sudden and it hit my family very hard. I honestly still can't believe it. With COVID and now this unexpected loss, we had no idea how to organize a funeral while dealing with our grief. My brother always said he wanted to be cremated when he died, so at least we were able to honor his wish. It also made it a little easier to take our time to plan a proper service for him without worrying about his body. The week my brother passed, I drove to his apartment to pick up some of his stuff and met his roommate. I'll call him M, who my sister already told the news. Only I came to find out M was more than that. He was my brother's boyfriend of 5 years. He was so heartbroken and upset he didn't even try to hide the fact that they were a couple. While I was a bit surprised, I had my suspicion growing up that he might like guys. But I never said anything. Being his older brother and all, I figured he'd come to me when he was ready. I wound up staying for hours talking to him about my brother and going through photos. Since then I kept in contact with him to see how he's coping, and I started visiting a lot just so we both had someone to talk to. He's a great guy and I'm really happy my brother found someone like him to spend his years with. Having these talks with him have also made me feel a lot closer to my brother again. My brother distanced himself from our family at 18 and didn't keep much contact with anyone, even me, despite us being as close as two brothers can be. Looking back now, I guess I can see why. My family was finally able to organize a proper funeral service for my brother. The service is scheduled for this Friday. We're still limited on how many people can be there, so only close family will be attending, and it'll be live streamed for everyone else. I really think should be at the funeral. He just lost the love of his life and he really wants to be there too. We decided to tell my parents he's a really close friend of my brother's. My sister, who apparently knew about them, flipped when she found out. She told me not to bring me because our parents will question who he is and it might expose the truth about my brother being gay since they never met him before. We argued over this and she pretty much thinks I'd be an idiot for letting him possibly face ridicule from our family if they found out who he was. They're all close-minded, and also a terrible son if I upset my parents over my brother being gay while they're still grieving him. This is all if they find out. I don't know if they will, but it still doesn't seem fair to not let him be there when he was such an important person in my brother's life. I feel like it's only right to bring him, but maybe I'm letting my emotions get the best of me and maybe someone with a different perspective can tell me. Am I an idiot? Update. Thank you so much to everyone for your support and assuring me we're doing the right thing here. I know I won't be able to reply to every single comment, so I just wanted to express my gratitude. Also, I did want to say, since people keep telling me to warn him about my family, he is well aware of how they are since my brother told him all about them and knows what he might be dealing with if anyone finds out. He still made the choice to be there and prefers being introduced as only my brother's best friend, not because of my family's homophobic views, but because he wants peace for himself at the funeral. If anyone does find out though, he won't be alone. I'll be standing by his side, so anybody wanting to cause problems will be dealing with me. So please don't worry. I won't let anyone ruin this last chance for us to say goodbye to my dear baby brother. Update 2. M went to the funeral and I introduced him to everyone as my brother's roommate and best friend. My sister was visibly bothered, but she didn't say anything. As expected, everyone including my parents were too upset to think about him being there and were still welcoming towards him. They didn't speculate or react the way my sister thought they would. I knew they wouldn't. We were all focused on my brother. It was a beautiful service. I'm glad M was a part of this and that my brother got a proper send-off. It was very difficult and it hurt so much to say goodbye. I really hope we did right by my brother and it was how he would have wanted it. Thank you to whoever suggested an urn necklace that M could keep some of my brother's ashes in. I brought this up to him and asked if that was something he wanted. I was going to get part for myself while my parents kept most of it. And then I would just split the ashes with them. M didn't know that was a thing but said he liked that idea. He got himself a beautiful pendant to keep the ashes in and he really loves it, so thanks again to the person who commented this. It was a lovely suggestion and it means so much to him to have a piece of my brother with him at all times. I have still kept contact with him since the funeral. He stopped by a couple times and has finally met my wife and daughter. I also try to see him when I have the chance just to make sure he's okay. This has understandably taken a huge toll on him. He told me he started talking to someone to help cope with the grief, which I think is great. I myself had a bit of a wake-up call that therapy was something I very much needed right away. My wife brought it to my attention that our 5-year-old has noticed I've stopped eating and now she doesn't want to either unless I do. Don't know, I guess I haven't been able to eat because I feel like I don't deserve it, if that makes any sense. It hit me that what I'm going through is starting to affect my family, so I'm currently looking up grief counseling in my area. I've also made an effort to eat more in front of my daughter so she knows that I'm fine and it's okay to eat, hiding the fact that it still makes me sick to my stomach. Things are still rough and wounds are yet to heal, but we're all surviving. Thank you everyone for all your kindness and support. Not an idiot. I am so sorry for your loss and at the same time so impressed with how you handled your brother's partner and his feelings. What a compassionate and graceful act. FYI, for grief counseling, some hospice organizations may provide this regardless of whether they were involved with the family member. All the best to you as you work through this difficult time. Not an idiot. Your brother would be proud of you. You have ensured his partner was part of the funeral and still touch base with him. You need to look after you now, mate. Get a therapist and help yourself to process everything. In the meantime, try to eat a similar sized meal to your daughter for you and for her. Would you care who comes to the funeral? Let me know in the comments. Now, am I an idiot for dancing half naked in my living room leading to my BF and his family seeing me? This is so embarrassing, but I can't take it anymore. I have to know if I'm in the wrong here. I need to apologize if so. I, female 21, was told by my BF, Nate, male 26, that I'd get the house to myself for the weekend. He said he had to go visit his parents to take care of a property-related issue. I was pretty excited to have the house to myself because I have been living with Nate since I was 19 and I miss living alone. Though Nate is the love of my life and in no way a trouble to live with, I had this tradition of spending a lot of my weekends baking while in my lingerie. It makes me feel pretty. Yes, it gets stupid, but it just makes me stupid happy, with music and dancing. Super embarrassing to admit, but I also do silly things like pretending I'm a Victoria's model or a singer and I sing along loudly. I mention this because this means the house is usually a mess. My dresses are all over and the music is super loud, which is obviously not okay. I hadn't done that in a long time because Nate hates loud music and he's not a fan of my cupcakes, so I decided to do it this weekend. FYI, Nate's family is also really conservative and he was brought up like that as well. So it's Sunday and I put on What a Feeling by One Direction and it's super loud. I'm only wearing lingerie, Victoria's kind so lacy af, which I regret looking back. My BF used his key to open the door and I didn't hear him coming because like I said, it's loud in the house and I'm also in the kitchen. Living room area. Apparently he wanted to surprise me. Nate brought his mom, dad, and his sister's 2 kids, only like male 10, think. They come in and there I am, frozen in a dance pose like an idiot. I quickly ran to our room, yelling sorry, I wasn't expecting anyone, and was putting on clothes when Nate came in. He was so angry. He said I was acting like a child and that I embarrassed him. His parents wanted Nate to drop them back at SOP, refusing to stay, and his mom called me a lot of names and said the kids had seen everything and that made me feel guilty af. Here's why I am losing sleep over this. On one hand, I didn't know they would come. I locked the door too so I feel like I didn't do anything wrong. I planned on cleaning up my mess before Nate came home too. Also, Nate and his mom insulted me a lot. But when you look at it from their perspective, I was behaving like an immature person. The house was a mess, I looked a mess, there were baking supplies scattered. Nate just wanted to surprise me and do something nice. Nate is still not completely talking to me. I don't know how to face his family, and I also know his sister told him to make me behave or something. So I feel like I should apologize before things get worse, but I can't decide for sure if I'm in the wrong here, so I need your help. Thank you for reading. Update. After reading what everyone wrote, I quickly realized that what Nate did was so wrong. A lot of great moms in the comments also helped me understand the fact that even conservative moms, like Nate's, wouldn't react so rudely. It hit me like a wave when I realized what my life had come to. I didn't say anything to Nate about the post, but he must have figured out that I was upset at him. I was doubting our relationship and pulling away from him. He started talking to me again and for a day I didn't really say anything. But I knew I had some decisions to make. I genuinely didn't believe I would get so many responses telling me I was not the idiot, so this was eye-opening for me. So a few days after I made the post, I told Nate that we needed to talk. I said that I would be staying with my friend until I felt comfortable around him. He didn't know what I was referring to, which just made me angry because how can he forget a fight that big? And I told him I was upset with how he treated me after the whole "your family walking in on me" incident. I also mentioned how I shouldn't have to wait for him to be away to dance, bake, or listen to One Direction just because he doesn't like it. He tried convincing me to stay, but I left. I think he knew I wouldn't let this go like the other things, thanks to you guys. Yesterday I asked him to meet me at a cafe so we could have a conversation about everything that happened. Nate cried, like for the first time ever since I have known him. He apologized, told me he messed up, and that he would change because he realized his mistakes now. I told him I wanted to move out and maybe after a while, if he does actually change, I'd give us another chance. I just needed some space to think about things, and so I told him we should take a break from each other for a while. Nate told me he would talk to his mom as well and that he should have defended me, to which I said yes, you should have. I actually borrowed direct sentences to explain why he was wrong from some comments you guys left because it was so helpful. It went better than how I imagined it would go. Also, thank you. Thank you doesn't even begin to cover what I really want to say to everyone who helped me and also to the mods who removed a lot of creepy comments. Thanks for sharing your stories about dancing in your underwear as well. It made me feel better to know I wasn't some freak for enjoying those things. I'm going to use those baking tips you guys gave to me and make cupcakes right now actually because I can. I feel so relieved, not an idiot. When I read your post I was so concerned by not only his and his family's treatment of you but also by the fact that it was so over the top and he didn't defend you. I'm glad you're taking a break from him because this was insane. You deserve to feel comfortable in your own home and what you are doing isn't bad. Many men would be over the moon to have a GF dancing around joyously baking. Do you think she's in the wrong? Let me know in the comments. Now, am I an idiot for kicking out my identical twin for selling nudes online? To give some backstory, my sister, female 23, and I, female 23, were kicked out by our parents at the age of 18 and we have been living in an apartment together with a roommate ever since. My sister doesn't have a steady job at the moment, so I have been handling her portion of the rent on the apartment. A few weeks ago, she approached me and told me that she found a source of income and would likely be able to start paying for rent soon. I didn't ask too many questions when she told me this because I was just happy that she finally found a job. However, I was talking to our roommate 2 nights ago and found out that my sister started an OnlyFans account and has been selling naked pictures, videos of herself. Now, I am very sex positive and forward thinking. I have nothing against sex workers, but she is my identical twin. We look exactly alike in almost every way. I personally do not feel comfortable sharing my body online to strangers. On top of that, I am trying to start a professional career for myself and I don't want employers, coworkers to find this and think that it is me. I confronted my sister when she got home later that night and told her that I will not be speaking to her until she deletes the account and that she would have to move out of the apartment. She was pretty mad about this and stormed out of the apartment and ended up sleeping at a mutual friend's house for the last 2 nights. I have talked to our roommate and some friends about this and they think that I overreacted. Am I the idiot here? Update. A lot has happened since then, so I decided to make an update. After reading your comments, I decided that I probably took it too far, and although I was embarrassed and felt violated, at the end of the day, it is her body and not mine. Just because we look the same does not mean I get to have a say, nor should it affect our relationship. So, I called her and told her I wanted to talk, and we had a really long emotional discussion, and I obviously decided to not kick her out as long as she was able to cover her rent going forward. Then, COVID happens, and as of June, I no longer have a job. I was one of the newest people at the company I was working for, and so I was one of the first to go. And in a turn of events, my sister, who has been killing it on OnlyFans, is now covering for my portion of the rent until I am able to get back on my feet. So, thank you for your advice. I might have ruined my relationship with my sister and maybe even be homeless without it. Not an idiot. I understand the initial reaction, but I'm glad you were able to move past it and it has worked out for both of you. I hope you are able to get back on your feet soon. Not an idiot. I'm an identical and this hit hard for me. I totally understand where you are coming from in your original post. I am glad you guys worked things out. Back when my sister and I were kids, we went to an overnight camp during summers. One year we lived in a cabin way up on the girls' side of the camp, and being so far into the woods made everything extra sweaty with little air moving. Sometimes I would wear only a sports bra and pajama shorts to cool down. Being in middle school, where everything is embarrassing in fairness, this mortified my sister and we'd get in huge fights about clothes because my bed was by a window. Our counselor had to talk to us and work out an agreement in the end. Obviously, these are two very different situations, but that's the story it reminded me of. It really felt like sharing a body at certain times, and my sister didn't want people to see us in that outfit. I'm glad everything played out for the best for you too.